Alright, in this tutorial we're going to set up EasyDiffusers, which is our library I made to improve the usability and like the friendliness of the diffusers library. Alright, so just want to hop right into it. To get started, you want to go to um, my GitHub and go to EasyDiffusers and clone this repository. Just want to go there. I'm going to go to my desktop here, just make a new folder. And the first task we got to do is to build the application from the source. So we're just going to pull up a terminal here. Command for that is git clone and then the HTTP URL. Well, don't forget to not do that and put // afterwards. Now that we have all of that, to build this, we just need to run docker build. But before we run docker build, we need to install packages and build the front end. So we're just going to cd into the front end here, and we're going to run npm install. Once we do that, we could just run npm run build. Now we could just get out of that, and here we could run docker build -t. You can name it whatever you want. I like naming it EasyDiff, and // and that'll build the application. Now yours probably take a bit longer than this, but that's fine. You can pause the video, and yeah, we're ready to hop right into it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make another folder, right? And we're gonna bind this to the Docker application. And what that's gonna look like here is we're gonna just call it app, and we're gonna get out of GitHub. We don't need it. We can actually delete that now. We don't need it anymore. But I'm gonna leave it there for now. And we can just cd into our app folder. Now that we're in our app folder, we can basically run our docker command. So docker run dash attach and interactive. We're gonna make it, give it a name. I like to call it diffuser. I'm gonna open up port 8789 to port. This exposes port 7377 by default inside the application, so that's what we're gonna use there. And we're just gonna mount our current directory. So the type is bind source equals pwd, and then our target is going to be /app/volume. Now you can look at the Docker file or whatever, the GitHub repository, to see in detail how the file structure is, but I have it all listed there. And we're just going to run EasyDiff. Now, if you run docker ps-a, we should see it appear. Yep, right there. And it's up 3 seconds. We can do docker logs. What is it called? Diffuser. We should see this. That looks good. Now, this port doesn't actually work here. This port is not port. This is the internal connection. So if you were on this network that the Docker is attached to, you'll see it. But since that's closed loop and we only get access to the port, we're just going to use my IP address there. So after we do that, all we need to do now is to modify the app volume, whatever, the file structure inside of app. So in a Docker file, this all gets created. If you didn't set up if you don't attach a volume, all of this gets created. But since we attach a volume, none of this stuff is actually get created. So we need to add a couple of folders. We need to add models. We need to add uploads. We need to add data, we need to add a environment. Sweet. And we can also touch a config.json there. Maybe, okay, I'm not doing it anymore. And we could just open that up right into Studios and just type in that for now. Sweet, now that we have all that, we're still missing one file, and that's inside of models, a help, and we're missing the helper dot whatchamacallit. So I'm going to make a quick Docker, another instance of that one we just did, and I'm just gonna name it test, I guess. RM later, and this is EasyDiff. Sweet. Now I just want to go into this file now and do actually we want to copy from Docker copy. I mean, I could just show you what the internal files looks like. So we go to Docker exec dash it, what is it, rm later bash, and we should see a did I get it wrong? Docker exec Docker exec, there's not only a single flag there. Sweet. Now we can list that volume here. We need to go to slash. If you want to see cat conf, we can look into config.json real quick. Config. Is it not the heck? Oh, I didn't go into the. I didn't actually go into the folder. So we see that kind of what I want that there. Now we just want to cd into models. All of these but models should be empty. Yeah, and so we have a helper.py, and that's what we want to extract into the other one. So if we do that, it's kind of got code in it. So I'm gonna break out of that. We're back in the regular one, the regular computer. So we just need to cd into models, and we want to do docker copy rm later at app volume models. We just want to copy all of that into our present working directory, right? And we should see it appear. Well, I mean, this works too, but just get rid of that real quick. Sweet. Now we could actually stop that RM later. We don't need it anymore. Need anymore. Sweet. So basically what we've done is we set up our Docker image to be normal, and we can now get to actually making our diffusion models and setting up our environment. So by default, it comes with a default environment, but we still need to set it up. So we need to go back into our Docker container. So we do that by doing docker exec -et. This one was diffuser, and we'll run bash. Just gonna hit clear there. So now we want to cd into volume, and then let's that out, cd into environments. Sweet. Now to create our default environment, we're going to run Python -m -v, and then we're going to specify our environment, which is default. You can add other environments here. You can add, you know, whatever you want. Because I know, because in diffusion, in the Hugging Face, not all of the models use the same version of Torch, which could be irritating to some extent. So this is just a way to not have to repeatedly uninstall and install packages, because that can get annoying. And I've also run Jupyter Notebook. I have a Docker version of that as well. It doesn't do well with virtual environments, and then with the kernels, it just doesn't work out that well. So this is like, I think this is like a better way to run those things once you actually make them, or to develop in general. Now, one thing we'll see later is that auto completion is kind of lacking here, and if you install a package site-wide, you could actually still get those types. And while this is doing its thing, we could just go back up here, I guess. Yeah. Okay, while that's doing that, we can edit our config.json while it does that. So in our config.json, we just want to configure up our default Python environment, as well as the model we're going to make and actually use, which is just going to be a text-to-text image, a text-to-text model. The idea is that we're going to tokenize some text, send it through to a pre-trained model, and then spit something back out. That's the whole idea. And so while we're here, we're going to give it a name, and we're just going to call it example text. And we need to give it a type. This is not completely necessary, so you could just do text for text for all of them. I'm going to deprecate that eventually. It was part of my early writing, but I don't need it anymore. And our source is going to be example.py. This is going to be a file we create later. Inside of our options, our next one are options, and inside options, we usually don't want any parameters, but you could. And so we're actually going to try it out. Let's do let's call this one car limit. We'll just call it limit, and the default for our limit is going to be 100, and our type is going to be select, and we're going to say they can just pick from, they'll be able to pick from like 10, 100, 200. That'll be it. Or I don't know if it can go up to 200. Let's try 50 to 100. And that'll be it for options. You'll see how that appears later. After that, we have allow images. This I don't think works yet, but we could it is not really necessary, because we can upload more than just images. You can upload any media. So you can upload a video, sound, whatever, to fit your whatever model you have. And the way this works is that when we pass the video to processes, we're only passing the location of the process, not the actual image. So it's really so you have to use like a different library like Request to grab the image and re-upload it later. I'll make a separate video on image processing. Yeah, and the next one is going to be our environment. This is our Python environment. This is relative to that folder we just looked at, and we're going to call it default because that environment is called default. Oh, so yeah, our environment finished. For the list, we have a default Python environment, so that would be that. And that should be all for our config.json. We actually want to open up that folder here, specifically models. No, yeah, models. Um, we can. I thought I deleted that. There. We don't need that one. It's still there? No. All right. So sweet. We just have our helper.py. So we need to make our new file. If you remember we called it example.py. And yeah, I'm actually gonna open up helper.py as well, so I can look at those. Sweet. So if we do, we're gonna we're gonna install some stuff later, so we're gonna actually leave that open. And this here is almost done. Okay, so in our data folder is where our actual models get saved. That environments, that's where our stuff get downloaded from like pip or whatever, Python. And models, where we want to put our models at. Uploads, where those like images or whatever, server and client side get uploaded to and shared. So right. So now, if we actually, before we do that, if we go, we can actually view the website now. So my IP address is 192.168.0.6.43, and we specify, I think, 8990 or something. We can do a quick check with docker ps-a and look that we set it to 8789. 8789. And so we get this clean little website. Not a whole lot. If we click plus, we'll see that that exact model we just made is there, text to text, example text. So that won't actually do anything just yet because we haven't made our model. So we're gonna go back to our model here, and we're just gonna load up, we're gonna load up, not load up, make our model here. Our model is simple text to text. Doesn't have a lot of text into it. So and I installed these packages site-wide, so we have to do a plug and play on which ones are missing. So transformers, import T5 tokenizer, T5, that a capital T, and then we also need T5 conditional generator. Yeah, sweet. And we're gonna make a quick function called gen text, which just takes in text. Oh, and a word limit. That'll be fine. If we push past that, we want to set our main entry point to be here. So if name is equal to main, want to do some stuff here. So first off, we need to import helper. Helper is this file here with all a bunch of stuff, goodies and whatnot. I'm not gonna go too into detail in it. I'm just gonna use the stuff. So we have helper parse args. It's gonna parse our system args, which we get passed through on the what is it, header? No, on the command line. So it was sys.argv. And if we look here, we can see the arguments we get passed. You can look through the labeling I have here, but essentially we get past data, location, and variables. So it should be data, location, and vars. Speaking of vars, I don't think I set a default variable in that config.json. Oh no, I did. Default 100. Okay, that's fine. So that equal to helper.parse args. So now we need to actually do the stuff here. Let's do the gen text function first. So basically we need to tokenize our words. So we need to do make our tokenizer t5 tokenizer dot from pre-trained, We're gonna pick the Google/Flan. It's the only one that really works on my CPU without crashing due to the low memory of my laptop. And then we're gonna switch over to our model. We need to do the T5 for conditioner dot uh, from pre whatever, and it's the same model. And then we want to go get our input IDs, which are the converted, which is basically going to be our text converted into numbers. And we're just going to tokenize that. I think it's oops, text, right? Text, and then we're going to specify our return tensors as points. I don't know what this stands for, but I believe these are something. Convert those to our IDs there. Now that we have our tensor, we need to send it to our model actually. So our outputs are going to be our model.generate, and we need to pass in our input IDs as well as our set our word limit of max new tokens. Set that to word limit, and pretty much we're done with that. Now we just need to de-tokenize those whatever it is. Tokenizer decode our outputs, and for some reason everything comes in arrays. I guess because you can specify like multiple dimensions of output. So we're not going to be doing any of that. So we're going to return a 0, 1. And so now we're ready to move on to the next part, which is to send all of this information back to the server, the client. So we actually need to grab the current time. So from date time import date time. We're going to grab the current time. We need to generate some text. So our text is going to be equal to text of our data history at -1 dot crap. Maybe I'm wrong about this. Yeah, it should have been dot history, but I guess not. Yeah, that's kind of okay. That's okay. I think I messed that one up, but we'll figure that one out. Data at dash -1. We're just gonna grab the text out of that. I just didn't have to. I could have sworn I was piping that in there. Anyways, and then we want to pass in our vars. We're trying to take out our limit from that. If we go, reference back to our JSON, our default was for our limit was 100, so that'll be packaged up nice and neat there. And that's gonna be our text generated. And now we need to just respond. So we just do output. It's going to be equal to a list of from model. I need to do that. So from model, the time is going to be a time. And then we need to specify our text is going to be text. Sweet. Now we could do output is equal to JSON dot dumps output. We're going to convert our output to a string. We also need to import JSON, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Now that we have our JSON, we can just print out to the screen. It's as simple as this. And we need to flush the the buffer so that it all goes to the screen. Well, get returned to the whatever. Yeah, that looks fine. I need to double check that though, but I'll do that later. Right, sweet. Now if we went back to our project here, this should be ready. We don't need to, we can just press refresh to reload that. And we're gonna select our current example text to text. We're gonna send a message. And we go to our terminal here. We'll see that we got this message here. And we'll see that module not found transformers. This to be expected. So to actually install the stuff that isn't installed, all we need to do is go back to our PowerShell and go back into our virtual environment. Put a muscle. So our default environment is that. So let's cd into default, and then we just need to do /bin/activate. Oh my neck. All right, and to go into our virtual environment, all we need to do is spawn in /bin/activate or ./bin/activate. App volume environment default. What the heck? Oh, it's relative. Spawn bin/activate .bin/activate. There we go. Now we could do a pip install. Pip install transformers. And if we go back to that model, that should be the only thing we need to pip install. Cat, stop it. All right, now that we're back, we should be able to go in here, text hi. So we need to install Torch. Let's go ahead and do that.